Welcome to Waves of Wisdom. This is our new podcast. Yeah, you're going to feel a lot of welcomeness in here because we don't know what we're doing. We know what we're doing as therapists, but not as a podcast. But we're here to, share some knowledge, share some education, and help our community learn more about what we do and how we can help the little people around here. So kind of a brief introduction to us. I'm Ariel Price. I'm the owner of Seaside Therapy. I'm originally from North Carolina. I went to UNC Chapel Hill, Hills, for undergrad in communication science disorders. And then I went to NC Central for my graduate degree and moved down to Florida after that. From there, I actually worked with adults. So we've gone full circle from that now. I worked in skilled nursing. I worked in acute care. I worked in long-term acute care. So it was kind of all over the spectrum in terms of working with adults. Loved it. But COVID hit and it was a really challenging time for all of us in healthcare. I couldn't really take it on my heart anymore. I felt like I was working in the ICU and just dealing with a lot of death, and it was really hard. So I made the switch to pediatrics. We now work in a PPEC, which is a prescribed pediatric extended care, and an outpatient clinic, which is where we are located right now. In my experience working with kind of big companies, things have changed in how I do business. So we're going to talk about that a little bit about Seaside, but I want to introduce everyone to my lovely partner in crime, Danielle. This is our lead PPEC occupational therapist and just overall clinical OT master. So I want her to tell y'all a little bit about her.
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Van Curen. I've been working in OT for the last 15-ish years. I started out as an occupational therapy assistant and ended up moving on to get my bachelor's and my master's in OT as well. I primarily worked in pediatrics from the beginning. I have had some experience in home health and then also movement disorders, and that I specialize in our littles. I have a background in autism, some behavior management, talking about sensory integration and modification, a lot of different things kind of all over the spectrum. I constantly am learning new techniques and new things that will help our littles. I do this because I love it and I would love to share it all with you.
Yes, perfect. So that kind of leads back into where we are now at Seaside. Danielle and I connected pretty early on as I opened the business. I had some great support and encouraged me to open the business from Charlene Westman at Building Blocks. And she was very integral to kind of the creation of Seaside. So I'm very grateful to her for the positivity and encouragement to getting to where I am today. She really helped me kind of develop my pediatric skills and supported me in, doing sensory oral motor feeding, sending me to clinics, doing CEUs on, vital stem and NMES with swallowing and feeding, doing specialty courses on lip and tongue tie releases and impact on swallowing, feeding, and speech. So pretty much, a lot of specialties in augmentative communication, voice disorders with kids with trachs and on ventilators. There's just so many things that we can do in the world of speech that aren't just articulation and language, which is what you traditionally think of with speech therapy. And of course, we do all that too. We really do. And I think a lot of our specialties kind of mesh into each other. So because of that, and because of my history working with kind of big companies, I quickly realized that I did not want to operate like them at all. I don't know if you know anything about me personally. I'm a very strong-willed person. I am pretty resilient and I'm very evidence-based and ethical. So it's very important for me to find like-minded clinicians that are, up and researching the latest and greatest and making sure our practices stay relevant and effective for our population, or else why are we doing this?
Right.
We're here to make changes. We're here to help impact positively our community, the families, and the little people that we serve. That's what I wanted the business to represent. I felt like when I worked before in big corporations, I was just a number, a cog in the wheel. And I felt like my patients were treated as such because I couldn't dedicate the time that I wanted to. So kind of the premise of Seaside is that we put the patient and family first. We integrate all of our skills and you become part of the Seaside family. We're here to serve you and your family and all learn in this together.
Right? It takes a village and we become your village.
Yes, we are. We are definitely a village and we're goofy at the same time. So we think we think that, life is hard enough as it is. So we know it's challenging when you have kids with unique abilities or different needs, and it's hard to make it to therapy. It's hard to take that time from your day. So we want to be the bright spot in everyone's day that makes it a little bit easier and makes your child want to come to therapy to make those positive changes because they face a lot of difficulties. right?
Well, and then making it fun for our families and for our kids, it doesn't present itself as work. So when they make those big changes in their lives and they see the progress, it's like, wow, it just kind of happened, not realizing that they are working through all of the fun and play that they're doing. So.
Exactly. And I think that kind of leads into our Seaside motto and how we look at the child overall. We are a very child-led kind of basis.
And family-led.
Family-led.
So, yeah.
Yes, we really respect what, families' wishes are, and we try to align the evidence of supportive therapy with that view. Child-led to us means that I don't sit your child in a high chair and make them do things and scream and force feed or give them activities they don't want to be engaged with to have them in active therapy. We go where the child goes. If your child wants to stay here and play patty cake, that's fine. If they want to go to the ball pit and we can work on, identifying colors and actions there for speech, that's what we do. We go where the child is because they're going to have better outcomes.
We turn every environment into a learning environment.
Yep. That's what Danielle loves to say, is that she can do...
I can do therapy anywhere.
Yes, because that's what it is. It's all about being functional and using skills that you can use at home. Our job here at Seaside and as therapists, the way we view it is to turn our parents and our family members into therapists, that they know what strategies to use to have the best communication, to have the best sensory, acceptance and gross motor adaptive equipment.
And they're able to carry those skills across settings. So what we learn in the clinic then translates to out in the community and back at home and at school. And we know that those skills are mastered now that they're able to carry it across settings.
Right, exactly. Because sometimes, and in other places that I've worked, it's kind of like you go into clinic or you're in the hospital and this is what you have to do at that right minute to just survive. And there is that point of, bad things happen and we're here to help and alleviate some of that. But in our situation now with littles, we're helping them grow and develop. We want them to be viewed as full, beautiful people. And that's what we're here, right?
Yes.
And then we also focus on, in regards to that, holistic care, right? It's kind of a buzzword these days.
Oh, Ariel, what is holistic care?
So in terms of therapy, I know holistic care can have a lot of connotations and people can interpret it differently, but in the way that we look at it is holistic care is viewing the child or our patients or our clients as a whole person. Me as a speech pathologist, it could be very easy for me just to focus on their feeding, swallowing, speech, and not realize that if they have poor trunk control or core support, they don't have the position to be able to eat successfully. We have to be up straight. So I need my OT and PT friends to help me in that. So what we mean by that is we're looking at every facet of your development. How are you sleeping? What's your nutrition like? How is your trunk support? How are your fine motor skills? And then how it relates to everything else, because it truly is looking at the whole body.
Yes.
Yeah.
All as one unit, because each part of your day and each part of your body all works together to have one cohesive function. We have to make sure that our therapy is hitting on all of those points, because if we find a point that is maybe a little lacking or maybe needing some extra help, we can target that so that the overall system works a little bit more cohesive.
Right, exactly. And another one of our ways of kind of implementing holistic care here is that we have a network of interdisciplinary team. It's very important to us here to work together as a unit. And some other clinics, you may only have one speech therapist and they're in their office all day doing their own thing. Here, we are a wide open clinic. We have physical therapy, occupational, and speech, and we all kind of work together in an open play setting that is child-led, and you get to practice these skills that maybe you're working on maintaining balance in PT, and while we're working on singing a song about your colors in speech, right? So it's kind of taking all of those things together and using our strength, right?
Yes.
And beyond that, we also are developing a kind of referral source for specialists because we can't all know everything.
So currently in our community, there seems to be a lack of resources for our families. So what we have as a team have decided to do is starting to build that network for our families. So say, for example, Ariel is working with a child who has lip and tongue tie, and we're working on feeding with them. We would refer out to someone who can help with the phoenectomy.
Yes. So we're trying to, connect with other quality providers in the area that we trust and trust in their work and trust in their outcomes to refer our families to. Because whether it's dietitians or gastroenterologists or pulmonologists or chiropractors, counseling, behavior therapy, we all need all of these things to, at some point help with each of ourselves or other individuals.
And every child is different. So every child's needs are going to be different. So if we can build that network as we see the need change for each child, we can refer to the correct specialist to get them as much help as we possibly can in the time frame that we're able to see them.
Exactly. It's definitely challenging in a world where it seems that sometimes insurance runs our healthcare system. And us as providers, we get told how often that, we get funded to see a kid. We could say this child needs 3 times a week of an hour intervention, but we may only get approved for 1 hour, a week. And that really impacts our care. So we're trying to find ways to creatively step out of the box and have resources available for our community that, it's just needed. It's needed. We all need to talk to each other and
not just for our kids, for our families as well. Because, our moms and dads need help too sometimes as they navigate the process of new diagnoses, of different care. You're looking at a child who's recently gotten a G-tube and you're going through all of the GI and nutrition and you're just not understanding, to help with that education component.
Right. Perfect. Yes. There's just so many pieces to all of these moving parts that even 1, 2, or 3 specialists here at Seaside, we can't do it all, right? It truly takes a village, and we're trying to build that community. And the message is that you can find like-minded people to provide quality care, and it works. So we're excited to see kind of where this goes, and that's why we're starting this podcast. We're trying to be more open about educating our community and, letting everyone else know that, you're not alone. We're here to help. We're going to help you the best way we can. And there's other providers out there and other, people that have the same goals, that really care about other people. And that's exciting.
And it's okay to be different.
It is okay to be different.
It's okay to be different.
I think you want to talk about one of our other things we love at Seaside.
So I'm going to let you continue to be the lead. However, one of the things that we have really started to dive into here at Seaside is understanding and interpreting neurodiversity. So Ariel, take it away.
Yes, neurodiversity. I think this is, yet another buzzword that's maybe becoming prevalent. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but we're kind of taking the new information and we are soaking it up and we are loving it, and we're loving its impact on our families and our children and even us as individuals. Neurodiversity is, and we have tons of resources we're going to be talking about for these types of things too, but it is the idea that just like everyone's body looks different, our brains are different too, right? So the way that it looks, the chemical makeup, everything about us is different. And that's what makes humans really cool. So in terms of that, neurodiversity is that exact idea that brains function differently, right? So someone that has a typical brain, right, would be someone that processes language or processes sensory surroundings in a typical way. They brush their teeth without issues. They can attend in class lectures without issues. They, can read and write without needing extra time, right? Well, that's not true for everyone, right? So neurodiversity is the idea that those brains that require different accommodations or different ways of learning, there's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely okay and it's celebrated because being different is cool. The term neurodiversity includes things like autism, ADHD, OCD, acquired brain injury, Tourette's, right? All these things that maybe traditionally have been stigmatized. Research is really now showing, and even just through education of people that are neurodiverse, is showing that they're just different, and it's really cool.
And it's a different approach to looking at a child or a person as a whole who are maybe diagnosed or not diagnosed with some type of neurodiversity, and taking out the negative stigma of, oh no, I'm different, or oh, this is something wrong with my brain. Because mental health is something we should all be embracing, understanding that it's okay to be different and it's okay to function differently, to process things differently, to need to, there's so many different styles of learning. And, as we go through school and we've all gone through, we've learned those different styles, and just understanding that maybe there's more styles out there that we just haven't kind of labeled yet. just very all encompassing of no matter where a child is
Or a
person. Yeah. Well, I'm saying when they get presented to us, no matter
Mhm.
where they are, what they're dealing with or what the diagnosis is, we treat the child in that capacity. Like
Yeah.
however they present to us that day is how we're going to kind of navigate our therapy with them.
Right. And on that same token, if you come into our clinic and you're saying my child is having behaviors, they're hitting and they're biting, and fix them, right? That's not what we're here to do. We are not here to fix your child. We're here to get to the root cause of why they're doing that, because behaviors, no matter how light or how hard, right? They are a form of communication. Our job to kind of be the investigative, detectives on
Figure
what's
out
going
the
on.
why.
Right. And how to fix the environment and how to fix our approach with that specific child. So it's neurodiversity is the idea that we're not fixing you. There's nothing wrong with you because your brain is different. It's how do we make the world a place where you can function successfully? And it's totally possible.
And learn in your own way.
Yes, exactly. And we love that. And in future podcasts, I think we may go down different avenues and kind of talk about what it means to us personally. But I can, give a little bit of insight into, I've had my own kind of awakening, if you will, into neurodivergence for myself and my family in the past couple of years. And it's really shaped how I've kind of viewed my processing and how I realized some of the things I really struggled with as a learner growing up were, because of neurodiversity. It wasn't because something was wrong with me or something was broken. I just needed a little bit of extra help. And fortunately was able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And look.
And for me as, a mom and, work a full-time mom and dealing and navigating with the quote unquote stigma or roles of being a mom and all the different things that come with that, realizing that sometimes my messiness or my scattered brain or my forgetfulness is not necessarily quote unquote because I'm a mom. There may be other things going on or underlying that I really need to take a look at and be like, okay, well, that makes sense as to why I react that way or I process things that way. So it's just very enlightening to be able to look at the brain as a whole and kind of see that, okay, there's different things going on in different ways that it's working and firing, and it's okay. It's just we're going to modify our environment or modify our understanding and strategies to help learn more. And
as
learn
noted by all of our sticky notes.
And iPad notes. And
because we like to call it squirreling.
Yeah.
Squirreling. You'll see that on the podcast.
Which we didn't do a lot this year.
No, we did pretty good today. So
we can rabbit hole for sure.
We'll get there, don't worry. But coming up on Waves of Wisdom, we're just going to be learning more about all different types of topics: neurodiversity, autism, feeding, sensory approaches. Yes.
We'll talk about schools.
Yes.
And therapies in the schools, what we as therapists can do to help. We'll also talk about equipment,
family inclusion, how to be successful in your family, interdisciplinary approaches. This is a podcast that's going to be funny. It's going to be challenging. It may, ruffle a few feathers here and there, but we strongly base, the things that we do in evidence and the research, and we support our community, and we're happy to be here, and we're happy to do this journey with y'all.
And welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learned something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah. Okay, so we're signing off.
Bye.
Take home Seaside vibes. Shop our Seaside Therapy merch now. Make a splash in your well-being and ride the tide of neurodiversity to a healthier, happier life. Subscribe today and surf the wisdom wave. Let's support inclusivity together.